Welcome back to the program. We are exactly 3 weeks out from primary day, and tonight we're holding the second in our series of debates. We should note that last Friday we hosted a debate in the Democratic race for Manhattan Borough President, and if you missed any of that, you can watch it in full at NY1.com or on the Spectrum News app. We'd like to remind you that early voting begins in just 11 days on Saturday, June 14th, with the actual primary on Tuesday, June 24th. Tonight we're going to bring you a Democratic debate with the top two candidates for Brooklyn Borough President. Borough presidents have influence over land use and development projects. They also appoint members to community boards and other local boards. Tonight's candidates are the incumbent, Antonio Reynoso, and his challenger, Kari Edwards. The rules that you see on your screen have been agreed to by both candidates. They'll each have 60 seconds for an opening statement. Answers to my questions will generally be limited to 60 seconds with short rebuttals allowed. There will also be both a cross-examination round and a lightning round. You can see this debate in full at NY1.com or on the Spectrum News app at any time. And we invite you to join the conversation using the hashtag NY1Debate. Now for opening statements. The order for tonight's opening statements was determined by a random drawing this morning. And we'll begin with Antonio Reynoso. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Errol. Thank you to everyone that's seeing us today. My name is Antonio Reynoso, and I am the president of the greatest borough in the city of New York, which is Brooklyn. A son of Dominican immigrants that got here in the late 1970s, and New York showed up for us. Brooklyn gave us everything. Born in Cumberland Hospital, went to the public schools, food stamps, welfare, Section 8. There wasn't a government subsidy that existed in our city that my family didn't have to take advantage of to make sure that we had a roof over our head and food in our stomachs. And I'm so grateful that we were able to survive or thrive because of what Brooklyn gave us. Now I'm raising my two boys, Alejandro and Andres, alongside my wife, Iliana, here in Brooklyn. And I really want to make sure that we can have a Brooklyn that is for everyone, that we have resources and that government shows up for you. Housing, mental health issues, safety are all things at the front of our minds. And I believe that I'm the candidate or the borough president that is going to help us out of it. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be your borough president.
Also with us, Kari Edwards. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? My name is Kari Edwards. I'm a husband, father of three, also a son of immigrants. I've been in this borough half a century plus one. You guys do the math. 27 years of that I've been in public service, mainly healthcare and government. I'm running for three reasons. I'm running against the current borough president because we're missing three things. Equity. The current borough president hasn't seen it fit to give proper resources to communities that need it. Under my administration, we'll have a plan of equity throughout the borough. Two, inclusion. The current borough president, although he's a progressive, has taken money from developers, luxury developers who have made our borough unaffordable. So under my leadership, there will be transparency so we understand Borough Hall. And third, engagement. Where's the borough president been? In every neighborhood I've gone to, the borough president has not visited, and many of them don't know him. So again, under my leadership, you will see me in every community, every meeting, and every corner. And Brooklyn, it's time for a bold change. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you, both candidates. Let me start with you, Mr. Reynoso. You were both candidates for this job 4 years ago. I wanted to ask you, what do you consider your greatest accomplishments over the last 4 years?
Well, my greatest accomplishment has been the Black maternal health work that I did. I only made one commitment to Brooklyn when I said I was going to be their borough president. It was to make sure that we can build equity in Black maternal health. Black women were dying at 8 times the rate as their white counterparts during childbirth, and Brooklyn was the most dangerous place for Black women to have babies. So we decided to do something about it. It was the first time in the history of any borough president that we spend all of our capital dollars, all $45 million, to our public health system. And we're building 3 state-of-the-art birthing centers in Woodhull Hospital, Kings County, and Coney Island. That's exactly where we want to make the difference. It's where most of the poor women in our communities have births. By the time we're done in 8 years, it will be the safest place in all of this city to have a baby. But it doesn't only, the infrastructure is not enough. We have a lot more that we need to do. So we've done community baby showers to make sure that women feel that we are part of their community. We're working with Brooklyn College right now to ensure that we do mental health work. Most of these deaths happen after birth because of overdose and mental health issues. So it's a full range of work that we've done, and I'm very proud of that accomplishment.
Okay, so now, Mr. Edwards, what specific actions of the borough president, what parts of the job do you think you would have handled better if you had been borough president these last 4 years?
Well, I appreciate what he has done for Black maternal health. I think healthcare is a key, and I spent 10 years of my career as the Vice President of External Affairs for Brookdale Hospital. But the borough is so vast, and there's so many things that the community needs. One is engagement, and like I said, You know, the borough president has not visited schools in Central and South Brooklyn. They haven't seen him for 3 years, now he's showing up. He did a great job with the 3 public hospitals, but there are 10 safety net hospitals that have not seen his support. So specifically showing up for those. And then the diversity of our community. You know, Jewish, Asian, Black, Latino. There's so many communities that he has picked and choose whether he would show up. So really what I would do is be obsessed with constituent services, be in everybody's community, understanding what the issues are, and really showing up for folks. Because what he said is what he started 3 years ago, but there's not much that's happened since then. And that's my issue.
Yeah, so just because he's saying it doesn't make it true. It's just nonsensical that I haven't been all over this borough. We've also done a comprehensive plan. And our comprehensive plan is the only one we've seen in the city of New York. It's the first time that we're actually looking at things on data and information. And the data makes it very clear. We have several neighborhoods in the city in Brooklyn that need specific assistance. And my work and the job we do is based on data. We don't care if you have a relationship with me or you have political power. What we want to do is make sure the resources go where they belong. And we've done that. You could look at the numbers of all of our capital dollars and see those neighborhoods that we've taken care of, which are the same ones that he's claiming we're not working with.
What are some of the neighborhoods where the data shows you need to put extra
The 3 neighborhoods that need the most attention are East New York, Brownsville, and Coney Island. And in all those cases, we've done extensive work in their education, for example. It's the 3 districts that we've chosen to give tech to every single school in the district. So we're not just picking out a couple of schools, they all get it. Every single council member in those districts gets an extra $750,000 from our office in partnership so it can enhance whatever resources they think are necessary because they know more on the ground. So every time we're doing work, it's all based on statistics and the work that we're doing. So we've actually tried to take the politics out of a lot of the work that's happened here in the past.
I want to ask about transportation. I want to start with you, Mr. Edwards. There's a 1.5-mile stretch of the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway that is the only section of the BQE that's actually owned by the city. It includes that crumbling triple cantilever section under the Brooklyn Promenade. It's in danger of collapse. Repair would cost an estimated $5 billion with a B. That money has not been allocated. And this is important not just for commuters, but it's also a freight corridor, about 13,000 trucks a day. As borough president, yours would be an important voice in that conversation. What should we do about the BQE?
So we should go back to the original plan that was given to Mayor de Blasio. You know, we can't move that BQE, we can't remove it, and then we can't just decide we're going to build something else. I feel that the original plan, by taking bit by bit, repairing bit by bit to make sure that the structure is safe, that we maintain a very commerce corridor, is the plan that was first introduced to Bill de Blasio that was set aside. Now the mayor has a new plan in action. So as borough president, the advocacy is to work with the community, have that conversation, but also talk to those who are most impacted.
Well, remind me, I mean, because there were 2 plans that went to de Blasio. One was to sort of divert truck traffic through Brooklyn Heights and close down the promenade. That wasn't very popular. Right. The other involved, you know, going out into the river and building a sort of a temporary detour.
Those are the 2 plans that he put. There was an actual plan to build it, to rehab it piece by piece. That was the original plan that he rejected that never made it there. And also what I would do is close the entrance to Atlantic Avenue because that has been a dangerous thoroughway for folks living over on Atlantic Avenue, and close that entrance.
Okay, Mr. Reynoso.
So the problem we've had in both cases, they speak about a corridor-wide plan, but the money that we get for any infrastructure updates in the BQE goes almost exclusively to the cantilever. And what ends up happening is that Robert Moses era infrastructure that is out of date and is not the visionary we thought he was, the people that already got a lot get more. The people in Brooklyn Heights got a promenade because they had political capital and were able to make sure that it moved around their neighborhood instead of what's happened in Sunset Park, it's happened in Williamsburg, and it's happened in Greenpoint, where it cut right through the middle. What I think we should be doing is slowing down a bit. What we have, the problem we have, is that we have an administration that I think has a substandard level of understanding of transportation policy. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know what they want to do, and they just want to paint lipstick on this BQE and regurgitate Robert Moses policy. I say that we maintain it. We keep it in a way that is safe for everyone, and we allow for a future administration where we have more progressive policy on transportation, like a Jeanette Sadi-Khan, or someone that I really think could get us to a place where we could finally solve for this corridor wide.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes.
On that? What if there is not a new mayor, or if there's not new leadership?
No, we'll save that for the cross-examination. Just to be clear, the administration you're talking about is at City Hall or in Washington?
In City Hall.
Yeah,
City
okay.
Hall. Yeah.
Let me switch to a different topic. There's a new 18-story borough-based jail under construction at 275 Atlantic Avenue. It's the site of the former Brooklyn House of Detention. It's scheduled to open in 2029 as a 1,000-bed facility connected to the Brooklyn Criminal Courts. If you're Brooklyn Borough President next year, what issues around the construction and the reopening would you expect to focus on?
Well, the first thing is I think this administration has done a terrible job at reducing the number of mental health beds or services for people incarcerated. What this mayor has done is made it so that he increased the jail population higher than it was under de Blasio when they had less cops and less people in a thriving city. And now we have more people in jail and we're using Rikers Island as a de facto mental health institution. But instead of adding more mental health beds, he's reduced it in the Brooklyn jail. And I think we have to have a conversation about that design and allow for the 30%, almost 30% of the people in Rikers Island are there because they have mental health issues. And over 50% already have some sort of mental health issues. So I think we should be expanding that, not contracting it. And also just this Randy Mastro idea that they want to convert one of the sites into a mental health hospital and the rest of them into housing and allow for Rikers Island to stay open is just unacceptable, and it won't happen under my watch.
Okay, Mr. Edwards.
I mean, we have to decide, are we going to keep Rikers Island open, or are we going to really invest in these borough-based jails? My issue with the current borough-based jails is that it's sitting right in a residential community. Even though it's on a commercial corridor, it's sitting right on a residential community. And what you're doing, much of what you see with even the shelters, you're putting this in places where people need to live. So, you know, part of the conversation that I have had with a lot of the correction officers, they just want to see safety. They want to see that when these prisoners come, that we don't look at them as just, not people who can just do. They want to make sure that they are safe. And I think that there's a way to have both. I do agree with my opponent about mental health beds, but mental health is one of the lowest reimbursable things that the community has. So that's a full state issue from a health care standpoint. But the reality of it is I do not feel these borough-based jails should be in communities. They should be out in more of the commercial districts. And then that way we'd start to see a little more safety there.
Let me switch to a different topic. There are 8 possible bidders for downstate casino licenses. The time is at hand. One of the proposals is for Coney Island. Would you like to see a casino there?
No, and strictly because of what the community says. 65% of the community has said they do not want a casino. 65% of that community do not want to see their taxes go up, do not want to see more displacement. My opponent has said to the advocates, oh, you guys have a great energy and great information, keep it up, where they felt that he's ignored them. And so as borough president, when you're showing up to community board meetings, you don't show up to most community board meetings, but when you're showing up to community board meetings to push the agenda of a casino, that becomes a problem for community. And so I was just in Coney Island the other day, got a big hug. Thank you for fighting. I wrote a letter against it. No, there should not be a casino in Coney Island because the community, Errol, the community does not want it.
No, so either show up or don't show up. I got to be somewhere. It just doesn't make any sense how you say I'm not in a community board, and I'm obviously there talking about things that are important to them, and everyone in Coney Island cares deeply about what's happening with the casino. My position has been that I'm going to be one of the people on this board that is going to make a decision. The proposals have still not come out. We don't know exactly what is being offered by these casinos. There's a potential for 2,500 jobs. There's a reconstruction of dignified housing for NYCHA. We don't know what the proposal is. It could literally be to fix every single apartment that is of NYCHA in all of Coney Island, and that they would do it, and we can't scoff at that. I'm not saying I support it. Obviously, the community is up in arms about it. I'm the only borough president that had a public hearing specifically for this issue and got over 400 respondents related to this. And it's public in our website of every single comment, even the curse words, Errol, about how people felt about this. I'm obviously very engaged, but it's premature for us to make a decision when we don't even know what the plan looks like.
But let me ask you this. Do you genuinely have an open mind about it, or is this just sort of procedurally, you're just kind of walking through it until you can announce that you've never liked casinos and don't really want to
So part of it is that there's some level of objectivity that you want to be able to keep, I guess, and give them a shot. But we're listening to the community. We're hearing what they're saying, and we just know that there's other sites in the city of New York that are going after this, and maybe Coney Island is not the best place. But it is a somewhat open mind, but they're going to have to do a lot of work because the community's been asking a lot of questions, and they haven't necessarily answered them all.
Okay, real quick.
Well, there was an initial proposal that, again, the community shot down, right? It was about fixing up a little bit of the boardwalk and giving them money. You're aware of that. And so again, when they asked you to stand on a position, you said, oh, you guys are really passionate about what you're doing. So I'm asking you now, give a position. Are you for or against it?
I just said that a position is not wise because we don't have all the information. And a boardwalk repair and minor upgrades to something is not something that's gonna make sense for anyone, especially a borough president. It's just not smart. So I think we have to wait, be smart, look at what they're giving us, and then we could reject it on the merits instead of what you're doing, which is rejecting it on politics. It's just not how I work.
Let's take a break, candidates. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll return to this debate in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
My time at NY1 has shown me that in the city that never sleeps, the news never stops. So as the day winds down, turn to the rush hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica Burke.
To catch up on the stories that matter across the 5 boroughs, with in-depth interviews from the city's newsmakers, plus the latest forecast. Catching you up with today, preparing you for tomorrow. Right here on the Rush Hour, weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
At Spectrum Noticias, we recognize that our New York City community is vibrant and diverse.
Spectrum Noticias delivers balanced coverage of the stories that matter in our communities and across the country.
Our journalists are based in the neighborhoods we cover, ensuring you get in-depth reporting on what's happening in the places we call home.
So join us at Spectrum Noticias. We're always on, always there for you.
Now available on your TV. Check your local listings. Also available on the Spectrum News app.
Welcome back to our Democratic primary debate in the race for Brooklyn Borough President. It is time now for the cross-examination. That's when each candidate gets a chance to ask one question of his rival. We'll start with you, Mr. Reynoso.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, Kari, they say, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. We just wanted to know what position you're taking related to the mayor's race and who exactly you are endorsing, or what does your ballot look like, and just so we can get to know exactly where your politics lie.
You know, that's an interesting question. I really haven't decided. You know, basically because I think as a borough president, whoever gets into that seat, you have to work with. Whether you like them or not, whether they're a part of your agenda or not. And so I'm a fan just like everyone else, and I probably won't know until either June 14th or June 24th. You know, there are some folks that I feel I would be comfortable with being mayor, but I'm not sure who they are at this moment.
Okay, Mr. Edwards, your turn to ask a question.
You know, both of you and I have been on the Perez notes, and your last interview with him about the borough presidency, you know, you said since 2013, you were one of the first people that were against developer money. But through our research, we have seen that you have received donations from Lighthouse, Charney, and Tri-State, which are luxury developers. But from your progressive lens, you know, development is bad, our affordability issue is bad. So my question to you is, have you decided to now take development money, or are you being dishonest to your constituents?
No. So I'm one of the first elected officials that has made a pledge to never take developer money, which is also why just because you say it doesn't make it true. Now look, if you're combing through
it's in your filing.
if you're combing through my filings, which I'm grateful for, you're helping me out there. I'm more than happy to find out who Lighthouse or who any of these people are, and would be more than happy to return money. I guarantee that funding or whatever they gave me is nonsensical, or it doesn't equate in any way to this campaign. And it's more nonsense. You know I don't take money from developers. You know that I don't meet with developers. And the comprehensive plan dictates exactly how I do my job. And I make my decisions based on the merits, not on politics, not on developer money, which I don't take, and I don't have relationships with them. Rebney is not supportive of me. Rebney's never been supportive of me. So if they thought I was their person, considering the housing positions I have taken, because I am pro-supplied, you would think Rebney would be all over it, but they're not, because they know that the work I do is on the merits, not on the politics.
Okay. Say the name of the company again.
So Lighthouse, Charney, and Tri-State.
Okay.
And those companies also had ULURP applications at the time of your donations.
That's nonsense.
A lot of journalists watching this will look it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's move on, gentlemen. I want to talk about ethics. And we'll start with you, Mr. Edwards. Shortly after becoming mayor, the last borough president, Eric Adams, was indicted for unreported travel and gifts, alleged quid pro quo deals with local businessmen that took place while he was still borough president, including the famous and never-built Sunset Park Friendship Arch. If you become the borough president, what ethical guidelines would you follow to reassure Brooklynites that the office is not for sale?
Well, the first thing I said was about transparency. The community will know when I know. In terms of these gifts that unfortunately have probably been dangled in front of elected officials for a long time, you have a choice to take them or not take them. I've been somebody who has worked in government over 27 years. I've been someone who's worked in private sector. You know, a trip is not going to move me. So from that standpoint, you don't have to worry about any unethical things from my administration.
As a follow-up, has Eric Adams been a good mayor for the borough, do you think?
So I believe that Eric Adams has been, in some places, a good mayor. I feel that his choices has left a lot of people behind, but there are some good things, just like we spoke about at the break. There's some good things that every elected official does. There's some good things that you have done. So I'm not going to villainize him for some of the good things he's done, but I do feel that the optics have really looked bad, and there are some stuff that he shouldn't have done. But he has given some of our unions some of the best contracts they have and putting food on people's tables.
Okay. Mr. Reynoso.
So obviously I got into Borough Hall and I decided to clean it up, and it didn't take long. We removed the non-for-profit that existed there as of since Marty Markowitz was there, who was investigated. This mayor was investigated over the non-for-profit. They use it to raise money from developers that doesn't go straight into their campaign coffers. Raise $1 million to throw this Wingate concert. That's how they did it. They raised it through the non-for-profit. It doesn't exist. We are now working in partnership with Brooklyn Org, which is a legitimate organization that does philanthropy work throughout all of Brooklyn. It's very obvious the position that I've taken when it comes to ethics. It's just not something that has ever been a concern for anyone that's surrounded by me. And also, I haven't received gifts. Turkey actually did come and visit me and gave me 10 tea sets is what they offered. We sent them all back because that's what we do. We didn't, and we had no idea that Turkey or Eric Adams was under investigation when we did it. The New York Times wrote about it very clearly. It's an example of just the standard bearer of what we should be when we are elected officials. And I would have hoped that Eric Adams could have done the same.
Same follow-up. Has Eric Adams been a good partner for you? Has he been good for the borough of Brooklyn?
Eric Adams on trash is something that I'm grateful for, the containerization. Outside of that, it's just the ethics is a big problem. The quid pro quos with the governor, with Trump, he's very active and loud about Biden not giving us any money to solve for this crisis. And when Trump does it, he does nothing about it. I think that he's made many mistakes, and I think he's going to go down as one of the worst mayors in the history of the city of New York.
Okay, let's talk about a couple of land use projects. The City Council recently approved a rezoning as part of the Atlantic Avenue mixed-use plan. It's potentially going to lead to the creation of 4,600 new apartments. This is the stretch from Vanderbilt Avenue to Nostrand. About 40% of the units are supposed to be affordable. If you're borough president next year, would you support, oppose, or adjust the plan?
Look, I think housing is a necessity. I am not happy with the affordable metrics, and that's something that maybe I can't even control. The AMIs are ridiculous. You're talking about deeply affordable is where our union workers sit, but affordability is now $80,000, $90,000 a year. Again, we're creating
per household.
Per household. So they're creating a place of renters. renters who are at the mercy of these developers. So for me, you know, and I called Crystal on it, I was like, look, what's the affordability we can get? So only a few of those units, and I'm saying a few, but over 500, are deeply affordable. So as I'm borough president, the things that are coming in front of me have to be within that deeply affordable metrics, because again, we're pricing people out at the sake of thinking that we need housing.
Okay, Mr. Reynoso.
It was a great plan. I thought Councilmember Crystal Hudson did an amazing job negotiating it. To get 40% on the standard, 20% above what is normally attained through MIH, I thought it was a great job. In the 20% increase that she got for affordable housing, she got a significant of them at the 30% AMI, which is the average AMI of the folks in the district that she represents. Crystal Hudson's been pushing forth a black agenda long before it was cool. Now everyone has one. And in her agenda, she specifically talked about how she keeps black people in their homes in her district. And I think that AIM Up is her first stab at really showing people how a black agenda works and following through on it. We also need housing of all types. And she didn't shy away from tall buildings and the conversation that is traditionally had in these communities where they don't want to build anything, even though we're in a housing crisis. She's shown leadership, and it's why she's one of the more prominent elected officials in Brooklyn, and she's doing a great job.
Let's move to a different project, the Arrow Linen site at 467 Prospect Avenue. It's going to include two 10-story residential buildings. About 40% of the total apartments are supposed to be affordable to families earning an average of 60% of the area median income, the AMI. More than half of the units will be 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, meaning family-friendly. There are labor and public space agreements that are summarized in a community benefits agreement between the developer and the Fifth Avenue Committee. Do you approve of the final deal, and what changes, if any, would you make to it?
Yeah, I support the deal wholeheartedly, fully. I think Shahana Hanif, the council member there, did a great job. Put a lot of political capital in making this happen. She's in a very contentious race and decided to do work on its merits, not on the politics. Played it very smart, reduced the height slightly, maintained the same amount of housing, increased affordability to 40% the same way Crystal Hudson did. But in this case, she has a more affluent neighborhood. So the 30% AMI wasn't necessarily necessary. But also just this conversation that we're having is about districts that have built very little housing. In her district, in Shahana Hanif's district, in Windsor Terrace, they built almost no housing since 1968. And that's where people should live. They have the best schools, the best parks, they got great transportation. And we need to have people be able to move in there. And of it, 40% is affordable and 60% is market rate, which is more akin to the incomes of folks in those areas. So I think that both council members are doing exactly what we should be doing, which is building aggressively and looking out for the interests of their communities.
Okay, Arrow Linen.
Well, I really want to kind of get back to the black agenda that you spoke about, right? Because you have a tendency, in my opinion, to not respect black women. Specifically, what happened with you and your former deputy borough president was happening with you and the current county leader, and literally what happened with you and my wife, and how you questioned her integrity just to get an endorsement from DC 37. And so, as we're talking about a black agenda in housing and all that, I need you to answer that question, because that's a personal issue that I have for 3 black women who have done the work. And I'll also add in your PEP, your PEP person, a Muslim young lady that you unceremoniously got rid of and replaced with someone. So I want to know your dynamic on how you feel about women of color.
It's just because you say it isn't true. Our PEP appointment got off the PEP because she was very concerned about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and how she was able to respond and be focused mostly on kids and not international conflicts. And she requested to step down. Okay. And I accepted her resignation. Just because you say it isn't true. It just seems to be how you make it. We could talk about all of them. Well, the fact that you think that the only endorsement that you've gotten for a union is DC 37 and your wife happens to be the vice president of external affairs or public affairs there, and that you got that endorsement, don't think it's a little shaky or interesting?
But why would you talk to her superiors in a way and question that?
I wanted to make sure that I got a fair shot at being able to get that. And obviously, you got the endorsement again, like you did last time. Congratulations to you. And the fact that you think that your wife had nothing to do with it is a surprise. Radnise Bichot is the county leader. I beat Vito Lopez to get the seat as a city council member. I challenged Frank Sedio when he was the county leader. And I challenged Radnise when she's the county leader because I'm a reformer. It's what I've done. I started an organization called New Kings Democrats so that we could get people excited about politics and working to do civic engagement. And New Kings Democrats is the #1 organization that's been pushing back against county.
That has very little minority membership, by the way. I want you to address that.
The thing here is what you want me to address is the fact that I'm not supporting black women when my agenda for black maternal health is the strongest it's in any other borough in the city of New York. Like, I'm obviously doing the work. It's just because you think because it comes out of your mouth it's true, it's just not the case.
Okay, gentlemen, let's go on to our lightning round before we close out here tonight. Who are you ranking first for mayor? I think this came up earlier tonight, but
I don't know. I mean, Adrienne Adams is my. I feel the most comfortable with her, if that's the thing.
That's an answer. Yeah. Who are you ranking first for mayor?
Brad Lander will be first.
Okay. You want to say more?
Yeah. Brad Lander, Zora Mamdani, Adrienne Adams, Zoner Myrie, and then Jessica Ramos or Michael Blake, depending on how I'm feeling for the moment. But the thing I won't do is vote for Cuomo.
Do you own or rent, Mr. Reynoso?
I rent.
Own. Mr. Edwards, who are you ranking first for city controller?
Whew, that's a good one. That one I probably am not sure either. Mark Levine was a friend but endorsed, so we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Don't play the politics. Pick the right people. It's okay if Mark Levine endorsed me. He's the best one. Mark Levine he did a great job as borough president. I think he would do an even better job as comptroller.
Serious question. What is your favorite ride at Coney Island?
The Cyclone has to be it, and I want to say I can only do it once. I can't do it 8 times the way.
The Thunderbolt.
Okay. The Thunderbolt. Oh, good answer. When's the last time you took a New York City ferry?
Probably about 15 years ago.
Okay.
Last summer.
All right. Your favorite beach in Brooklyn, Mr.
It's Coney Island. There's no other beach in Brooklyn that we should be saying number one.
I love Manhattan Beach though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You can name it. Coney Island is the best.
Correct answer is Kingsborough, by the way.
Okay. That is
Kingsborough, Manhattan.
That is a nice one.
What was the last event you attended at Barclays Center?
Oh, the Nets game. It was I think it was Nets Phoenix.
The New York Knicks Game 5 playoff game.
Okay. New York Knicks. He said Nets game.
I said Knicks,
Barclays. I said Barclays.
Oh, at Barclays. Yes. The last time I was there was for a graduation for Brooklyn College.
Okay. Have you been to a Liberty game?
I've never been to a Liberty game.
Yes.
Yes. 2-part question. Name your favorite restaurant in northern Brooklyn and your favorite in the south.
Komodo in North Brooklyn. South Brooklyn, I would say Cafe Rudy. Well, it's not fully south. It's more central.
It's more central.
Cafe Rudy.
Okay. All right, now we'll give it. We'll give you that.
Yeah. Sazon Perez is a Dominican-owned restaurant in Williamsburg that pretty much raised me as my favorite restaurant there. And I want to go with the best pizza in Brooklyn, which is the Pizza Wagon in Bay Ridge.
Oh, I'm so sorry, gentlemen. The correct answers are...
I love that you're from Brooklyn, though, Aaron.
The correct answers are Nick's Lobster House in the south.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And, well, you know what? I'd say Henry's End in the north, but or Queen. Okay. Favorite movie that is set in Brooklyn? We got to get out of here.
Whew, that's a good question. I mean, Do the Right Thing.
The Mario Brothers movie.
Okay, good enough. Best of luck, gentlemen. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. That is going to do it for this debate and for tonight's show. If you missed any part of it, head to NY1.com or the Spectrum News app, where you can find more information about the primary races and where candidates stand on different issues. And don't forget to tune in to the rest of our debates. Next week, New York 1 will host a debate in the race for city controller. That's happening on Tuesday, June 10th. And then on Thursday, June 12th, the 7 candidates you see on your screen, they're all running for mayor. They're in the Democratic primary, and they will be debating. Both the city controller debate and the mayoral debate are co-hosted by WNYC Radio, Gothamist, and the news site The City, along with the Campaign Finance Board. All of the debates will air in the 7 p.m. hour at New York 1. It'll be on the Spectrum News app as well, and on our YouTube channel with no paywall. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great evening. We'll see you next time inside City Hall.